ago, there was an engine that departed from the big station with a long passenger train. All was going well for the most part. The engine puffed out steam as white as the clouds, and the passengers all sang the engine's praises in the coaches. But when they were about to make their first stop, it began. As the engine approached the station, rather than slowing down, it picked up speed, slowly at first, but then it started to get faster, and faster, and faster. Panicked, the crew tried to shut off steam, but to no avail. They tried to throw on the brakes, but also to no avail. The engine clattered down the main line, shaking and rattling, until further down the main line was a valley, where a viaduct was supposed to be constructed. The engine got closer and closer until...
And every year, on the night of its accident, it runs again as a warning to others, plunging into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul.
Percy, what are you talking about?
The ghost train. My driver said he saw it last night.
Where? Thomas and Toby asked.
He never said. Oh, but it makes my wheels wobble thinking about it, Percy said.
Ha! Snorted Thomas. You're just a silly little engine. I'm not scared of anything. A little while later, the driver came back from his tea break.
Thomas didn't believe in your ghost story.
Percy's driver laughed. Neither did I. It was a ghost story on television. It was likely made up for dramatic effect. Percy was disappointed, and Thomas's words lingered in his head for the rest of the day. Nightfall came, and Percy made his way back home from the quarry. It was dark and misty, but Percy always knew where he was. He knew the Farquhar branch line like the back of his buffer.
There's Crow's Farm's crossing. We shan't be long now, he chanted.
Percy liked going on the branch line at night. The rails hummed and his light shined brightly. But further down the line, Terence was having trouble with a cart full of lime. It bounced and it buckled, and as he went over the railway crossing, the cart bounced off of his hitch and laid on the road. "Oh no!" Terence said as he halted to a stop. "Your hitch must have been too small," Farmer Finney claimed. "We must get it hooked on at once." But a whistle in the distance spelled disaster. Farmer Finney shot Terence's control forward before Percy crashed into the cart full of lime. Luckily, no one was hurt, and Percy didn't come off the tracks, but white, powdery lime peppered the entire area, especially Percy. It took a lot longer than expected to clean up the mess. Toby was slowly chuffing down the line with Henrietta in tow, ready to go back to Tidmouth. But he had to stop due to the obstruction, as a guard waved a red flag, and as he stopped, he couldn't help but laugh at the sight of Percy.
My, oh my, Percy, he chuckled. I didn't know winter came early.
Percy embarrassingly let off steam. "No, it's all lime," Percy's driver said. "Well, you'll have to get him cleaned," Toby's driver said, "or else people will start thinking that there's a ghost on the line." This gave Percy a very naughty idea.
"Oh, let's pretend I'm a ghost and scare Thomas. That'll teach him for calling me a silly little engine."
Terence simply chuckled at the idea, but Toby promised to help. Thomas's axles were being oiled up for the evening post train, until Toby puffed into the sheds with a very worried look on his face.
Thomas, Percy's had an accident,
Cried Toby.
Oh, botheration, said Thomas. That means I'll be late. Well, they've cleared the line for you, but they say that there's something worse out there.
Well, out with it, Toby. I don't have all night. Thomas puffed impatiently.
I saw something out on the line. It looked like Percy's ghost, and he said he was coming here to warn us.
Huh, Thomas said. What rubbish. Don't worry, Toby. I guess I have to take care of you, too. The night grew dimmer, and Thomas and Toby heard puffing outside of the sheds.
Who's that?
Thomas asked, frightened. The puffing grew closer.
Thomas, I think it's the ghost.
Knock it off, Toby, Thomas hissed angrily, as Toby tried his hardest not to laugh. But the puffing suddenly stopped, and a gentle wheesh was heard outside of the sheds.
Beep, 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 beep. Let me in! Let me in! No!
Toby cried pretendingly.
Not by the smoke of my chimney, chim. Then I'll chuff, and I'll puff, and I'll break your door in.
Percy wailed as the door slowly creaked open.
Oh dear, it's getting late. I need to go find the mail vans.
The next morning, Toby was at Tidmouth with a small train headed towards Knapford, when Thomas puffed next to him with Annie and Clarabelle, looking horrified.
Where have you been?
Toby asked disapprovingly, pretending to be cross with Thomas.
Oh, well, I knew you'd be sad about Percy, and, well, I don't like to intrude,
Thomas stammered. I just slept in the goods shed, and
Oh, sorry, I can't stop now. I gotta see a coach about a train.
Percy was still none the worse for his adventure, and he was enjoying himself enormously. He heard everything.
Well, what do you know about that? Said Percy.
Toby chuckled.
You're a cheeky fellow, Percy, and kudos for making your whistle sound so spooky,
he said, as he puffed out of the station chuckling. But Percy, on the other hand, was confused. He did go to the back of the shed to spook Thomas, but he would have never blown his whistle. Wouldn't it have blown his cover? Do you think it was Percy that blew that whistle? Percy never confirmed or denied, but I think we know what it was.